Imagine a time when school buses had no emergency exits. A terrifying reality that once existed. This simple window, often ignored, holds a hidden history of innovation and tragedy. Get ready to uncover the untold story of the unsung hero of school bus safety, a design born from necessity and a commitment to protecting our children. Hey guys, Jason, Paul, quiet for a second. Quiet. All right, hey, quiet. Thank you. Now, this is emergency exit window. We are going to go over on how to use an emergency exit window. If you do it right, I'm going to do this right here. Hey, emergency exits are only to be used in case of fire, flood, or T-Rex attacks. Jason, did he just say T-Rex attack? Yeah, I think he just did. I saw Jurassic Park a few days ago. Hey, Paul, what did you hear? What's going on? All right, we got it? Okay, let's practice. Paul! What are you doing? Well, that's one way to do it. Only on T-Rex attacks. Hey guys, did you know that every single school day, millions of kids ride the school bus and they have no idea they're being watched by a guardian angel, which is this, the emergency exit window. Have you ever stopped to actually think about it for yourself? Why is there emergency windows on a school bus? Who decided it should even be a window after all? I say, let's find this out together. So stay tuned and we'll talk about this. Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about 3 school bus accidents that happened on the bus that has the fatalities included. Now, I'm not going to spend that much time on these accidents because this is a YouTube video about why we have emergency exits on the school bus. To do them justice, I probably need to do like a whole video about each individual accident. So this is just going to be a quick overview just to get through them and explain to you why we need these windows. Now, the first one I want to talk about happened in Prestonsburg, Kentucky. Happened on February 28th, 1958. Now, since it's in February, it's in Kentucky, it's cold outside. They actually had a big thaw that happened and it rained the night before. So the actual river, the Big Sandy River, I believe it's called, was fuller than usual. There was a wrecker pulling out a car that was on the other side of the street. So the wrecker was in the road a little bit and the bus went around the curve. It hit the wrecker. And of course the bus veered off to the left down the embankment into the river. If you can imagine, like you got the service door right here. The first part of the bus that's going to go in the water is the front of the bus because that's where the engine, the transmission is. So there are a lot more weights in the front. So the first thing to get submerged when you go into a body of water is going to be the front of the bus. Now, kids could have got out of the service door if they acted immediately. But the problem is we have what they call the human factor, is most people are going to be in shock. They're going to be like, what happened? And they're going to be realizing, they're okay. But by that time has been ticking. It's been going on. So the front of the bus is already starting to submerge underwater. So the front service door is not going to be usable. Now, as you see on this school bus right here, we actually got a pretty good distance between the seats. Now I think we have about 16, 18 inches between the seats. Of course, more up here, less down here. But back then, they only had at most 12 inches between the seats. And there were 40, if I remember correctly, there were 48 elementary kids on the school bus, plus the driver. So it's 49 people, 49 souls on board. And just imagine, if you will, this service door is no longer accessible. Now we got 49 people trying to clamber to the emergency. They did have emergency exit in the back of the bus, but just imagine people trying to get through the aisles, trying to get out through the doors. And now these are elementary kids. They're not going to be some are just going to be so small they'll get pushed to the side. So what happened? Some kids made it out, realized their brother or sister, their friends was still in the school bus, didn't make it out, so they try to go back in after him. They ended up drowning as well. Now, all total, they had 22 people escape the bus. They survived. 24 drowned, including the bus driver also drowned. Now, one thing you have to imagine about this accident, all these people were family. Back then, as well as now, some parents, they have, 3, 4, 5 kids. And I remember seeing all the gravestones where like 3 are like the same last name, 2 are the last name. I don't know if it was a 4, but I think there were several 3s, a lot of 2s of the last name of the kids. So just imagine being the parent, waking up with a whole family, and that night being an empty house because all your kids were on that same school bus. All right, so the second accident was in Rustburg, Virginia. This happened back on March 8th, 1977. Now, first of all, there was an embankment off of a, I don't know if it was a mountain or hill, but there was some kind of hill going down. And around the curve, a school bus was picking up at one of its stops. And of course, the school bus did have all of its emergency lights, the stop sign was out and things like that. But that was a semi-tractor trailer that could not stop in time. And he actually rear-ended the back of the school bus. Now I'm going to read to you what the NTSB wrote in the report. The rescue administration and first aid to the occupants of the bus were hampered by the lack of immediate access to the interior of the bus. It was not possible for any occupants to escape quickly from the damaged overturned bus. Here's why. The bus emergency door had been deformed at the time of collision, so it could not be opened, and the rear seats were blocking the broken out rear windows. Now the overturned bus was on its right side, which is actually pretty bad because that's where the access door where you get on the bus. So basically the school bus rode over onto its own door. The overturned bus was on its right side and the entrance door was blocked. All buses' windows were closed. Now the distance from the right to the left side of the bus, so if you're standing on the bus, if you're standing on the windows, you couldn't reach your windows on the left side of the bus. It was too great for any occupants to reach and manipulate the window opening devices. Now, had there been a fire on the bus, thank God there was not a fire on this bus. But if there was, the bus occupants probably would not have survived, or they would have sustained a lot more serious injuries because of the inability of rescuers to gain immediate access to the interior of the bus. So this is one of the worst case scenarios, but luckily, like it says, there was no fire on the bus. So basically, everyone was trapped. And if I remember correctly, reading the reports, it said that no one could get to the rear of the bus, as what I just said. But they did have to pry the window, the right side window, off of its window sill. And I believe there was a nurse that climbed through to help render aid to the occupants of the bus. And everyone on the bus had to go out the front windshield because they couldn't get out any other ways. This shows you why we need emergency windows, and also nowadays school buses have the emergency hatches on top. So this is one of the other things that involved adding more emergency exits on the school bus. All right, guys. So last one I want to talk about happened in Carrollton, Kentucky. This one also tied at the time for the worst fatality school bus crash in history at the time. This one also had 26 people, 26 kids, fatalities, and the school bus driver. So this tied to the first one in Prenzlberg, Kentucky. Also in Kentucky, by the way. Both of these are from Kentucky. This one involved a drunk driver that left a bar, and the school bus that was in the accident was no longer a school bus. It was a secondhand school bus, or a secondhand bus that used to be a school bus. Now it was converted to a church bus. And the church group went to like some kind of fairground, and it was this accident happened like at 10 o'clock at night, and the bus just filled up, and it was on its way back to the church, and the drunk driver actually T-boned the school bus. Now, a lot of bad things happened. First of all, back then, they didn't have the cages around the fuel tank on the school bus. So the drunk driver literally ruptured the fuel tank. It caused an immediate fireball. And since it happened on the same side of the bus as the access door is, it kind of made that access door, you couldn't get to it because there was fire everywhere. It's a big fireball. And so the only exit was, of course, in the back of the bus. So just imagine, same thing as the first one, where you have a lot of people trying to get out, escape this burning inferno all through the same door with the same distance between the seats. So same thing happened. Everybody would try to get out of the school bus as fast as possible. And of course, it made a big traffic jam. If they had emergency windows on any of these accidents, a lot more people would have survived. The reports I saw from all three of these, or from the first two, the first one and this one, is that everyone survived the first initial part of the accident. All the fatalities came from what happened afterwards. The drowning and the fire. If we had emergency windows, a lot more people would have been alive today. So who emerged as a champion for the emergency exit window? While there is not like a single name associated with this invention, but it did come around in the mid 20th century by the innovation, most notably Dr. Frank Sear. He was the father of the yellow school bus. In 1939, there was a National School Bus Standards Convention at, I think it was Columbia University. He's the one that pushed for universal safety improvements, because before 1939, anybody that had any kind of vehicle, wooden vehicle, steel, anything that could take kids back and forth to school could be considered a school bus. So his safety standards, among the color and the size, this set the stage for further innovations in the field, including emergency exit windows. Alrighty, so a lot of the momentum came after the NTSB pushed the NHTSA. That's a hard acronym to say sometimes when you're trying to say it fast. But the NTSB pushed the NHTSA to strengthen the egress performance after these three accidents we talked about. So what did manufacturers actually do before these mandates came in effect? Now, a lot of school buses companies out there, they have these set as options to have the emergency windows, the hatches, and other safety features like that added, but it was at an additional cost. After the NHTSA pushed for more control, most school bus manufacturers just add these as standard features. Now, school buses nowadays are very, very safe. There's only 0.1 fatalities per 1 million vehicles mile traveled. Now, compare that to passenger cars, which is 1.5 fatalities per 1 million miles driven, which is about 8 times. So school buses are about 8 times more safer to travel in than personal vehicles. It's kind of a mind-blowing, but it makes sense. You know, the emergency exit window may have started out as a bold experiment, but now it is standard throughout all of America. Every school bus in America now has emergency windows, hatches, and emergency rear door. And they're all working together to make your children safe, to make me safe. Now, some of the modern designs about these emergency exits is either a quick latch window, glow-in-the-dark signage, or even the just the alarm. Whenever someone tries to access one of the windows of the rear door, an alarm goes off up front to let me know that someone is trying to open an emergency exit window. But the lineage is very clear. All of these emergency windows, the hatches, the door, all that started just by a simple piece of glass on hinges. Born from tragedy, but is now a lifesaver. Now, this story reminds us that school bus safety is not an accident. It is a result from engineers, lawmakers, and communities demanding better protection for our children. Now, hey, next time you see a school bus drive by, look at these emergency windows. And remember that they are the quiet guardians helping to protect our kids, the next generation. And now I leave you on this question. What do you guys think will be the next safety standard to be implemented on school bus? I have no idea. I mean, the future, who knows what future holds? Maybe airbags for kids. Airbags, I don't think, I mean, yeah, our steering wheel don't have airbags, so maybe airbags for the drivers. I have no idea, but that's a good question to think about. Oh, here's a problem. I never showed you how to use these things. For the emergency exit windows, let me zoom out. You got this red handle. You just gotta pick all the way up to the very top, and the window just pushes out just like this right here. And that is how you activate an emergency exit window. To close it, just I think close it, and it locks down. And how it works, you open the window up here, is you got these little latches right here. As I move this handle, you see that moves up and down. That just latches onto the side of the window right here. So, gotta make sure first I close it all the way, and boom. And that's how you close or open an emergency exit window.